Today on the channel, things get super with Supergirl DC Mcfarlane Toys Page Punchers Edition.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another Mcfarlane Toys Page Puncher Edition. And today, we got a controversial one. We got Supergirl, but for all your Supergirl needs and a whole lot more, make sure you're hitting up jaystoysandgames.com. Use discount code Kyle, save yourself 15%. Gotta get a deal out there. And all kinds of Mcfarlane over at Jay's Toys and Games. But Supergirl just hitting stores right now, but one store, as we know, we're not gonna find it at, is Walmart, as there was a news story that broke a couple of weeks ago. We deep dived it, me and my wife did, on the Kyle Peterson Show podcast. Cheap plug for my new podcast every single Tuesday, wherever your audio podcasts are found, with video cast on YouTube. We do a deeper dive into a news segment every single week, and I did dive into this Supergirl and the Killing Joke Joker figure that were both hijacked and stolen from, of course, Walmart. So Walmart did not get their inventory of these, making this figure a lot rarer when only the Jays of the world, the Targets of the world, and a few other places are basically carrying this. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Now, taking that business step back, you got to think whoever stole that truck is probably going to try to unload these at a cheap price somewhere. Going to be interesting to see where that goes. But if you're looking for this one, you might not want to pass it up if you see it, because it could be a rare, normally I'd say a rare boy, but a rare girl in the grand scheme of things in the future. But as I said, I deep dive into that a little bit more in my podcast, and I talk about it where that's a bad deal for Walmart. But our friend Todd on the couch, Todd, we're not going to get into it here, but you were probably a little happy with that. And we talk about that in the podcast, why Todd's feelings wouldn't be hurt too bad, but Walmart's would. So check out the podcast if you want more. But we're here for this figure today. And of course, we're going to do this unboxing like we do all the other unboxings on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. So without further ado, let's see what Supergirl's up to right here in the Page Puncher line. At first, I was like, what's going on with the packaging here? There's no J-hook on these anymore, but the J-hook was folded over. Your mileage may vary on that, but it is a Page Puncher. Always hard to get out of the package. Not a huge fan of the packaging on this. I'm just not, Todd. I'm sorry to tell you, I'm just not, but it is what it is. DC Direct down here looking good. Supergirl got her name right there. Of course, it includes a comic book, which is always nice. And on the back, we got that comic book, into Infinite, easy for me to say, Infinite Frontier back there. Supergirl, the woman of tomorrow. So she's like a young Dipping Dots, the ice cream of the future today. And I guess tomorrow is today with Supergirl. But a decent looking one, and we'll do some Supergirl comparisons later on in this video. But I'm going to take this offline, get my bandsaw out, and get Supergirl out of the packaging. All right, we got Supergirl out of the package. Let's dive in. Let's start with the accessories first. And I guess DC collector stand. Seen it before. We'll see it again. We know how that goes, of course. We do get a little trading card for Supergirl. Let's read the back, see what's going on back here. Real name, Kara Zor-El. An alien girl seeks out a melancholy, directionless Kara Zor-El to help her take revenge on the bad guys who destroyed her world. Now a Kryptonian, a dog, and an angry, heartbroken child head into space on a journey that will shake them to their very core. Watch out for that. Very fitting around Mother's Day. She might not be the mother she got, but she was the mother she needed in Supergirl, I guess, is what we could say about that girl. But an interesting card here. And then we do, of course, get the comic book, so we can read on that. But Todd got to throw some shade, as the kids say, as, of course, trying to get this out of the package. I tore it a little bit. I just don't like these Page Puncher packaging. It's just too much for me. It's just too hard to get this stuff out of the package. Is what it is, though, here. But we do got the little story. We can read through it, I guess. Let's just sit down and do story time with Kyle. Maybe not. But you do get a comic book there. A little added bonus, but it'd be nice if I could get these out, especially the card and the comic book. If I can get them out clean, because I'm hoping to grade these a 10, and I'm hoping to retire off of these things. That's what I want. I've skirt-tailed all my 401k, my pension. I closed it all down. I said, I don't need this anymore. I got the Page Puncher comics and trading cards here, and I'll use those for my retirement. stay tuned to see how it works out with me. We'll see what happens there. But we do get her little sword action. She's got that on the cover. She's throwing the sword up. She's ready to take on all comers. More ways than one, possibly. Silver looking good here. Even a little bend to the blade. Very, very nice, but very rubbery, very gummy on the weapon department there. Is what it is. And we got two little hands, two little fists of fury for Supergirl here. Just in case she needs to throw a couple of punches in bunches. We got that going on. But now we're diving into Supergirl, the main event, if there ever was one. And we've had a few Supergirls over the years. This is an interesting looking one, as she is very angry, determined in that face. You know, I like my Supergirl a little bit more smiley, but she is very kind of PO'd is what she looks like here. She just got very nice blue eyes, though, looking very good. You got the blonde hair with the curls, long hair, looking very, very nice, but a very rough face on her. She's very angry for Supergirl, for sure. Now, we do get the soft goods cape. You know that's playing the hits for me right here. And even better, a wire in the cape, looking very nice. Got the S logo on the back, which is always a plus, looking very good. And then we do get this Supergirl emblem right there in her chest. Got the long blue shirt going on, looking very nice. Got the gold belt, the black. How about red? Kyle, learn your colors. You got the red skirt on her, looking very good. And she's got blue underwear on for those keeping track at home. Got those high boots up here with the gold trim at the top in red, all the way down to the red in the boots there. But looking good. I think if anybody hands you this, you know exactly who this is out of the pack. You know this is Supergirl, so it does look very nice. She does got the hi-ya hand, the saluting hand, the flying through the air hand. She's got the open hand right there. Maybe she'll give somebody a chop. You never know what she might be up to. And then we do get the gripping hand over here, of course, for the sword if you need that. Looking pretty good. Now, arms all the way around for us here. A little bit of butterfly shoulder, not a ton to write home about. Double jointed pinned elbows. Yes, the pins, Todd McFarlane. Hands removable back and forth, side to side. Head back and forth, up and down. Not the best movement there. Hula hoop going on. No real traditional waist to write home about. A little bit limiting there. Does got the Supergirl splits if you need them. Legs go up a little bit. Double jointed pinned knees, of course. And then you got those ungodly, unsightly ankles right there. Not a fan of those big balls. Really take me out of the game. Nobody likes big balls, especially in their ankles. That's what I've been told, at least. That's what my wife tells me. Then you get up and down. No real, a little side to side on the ankle down here on the boot. Toe articulation is there. So a little less than as far as that one does go. And she should fit on the McFarlane stand. I would have to imagine they were made for her, right? She's got to fit on there. And what do you know? She does. Just got to get her leaning right. There it is, old Supergirl. An interesting one. Is it the best Supergirl? Well, you guys tell me, as I do got the last version of Supergirl right here. There was a platinum of this one as well, but this one's more color-coded correctly between these two. Sure, why not? And then we did get that one that was part of that was an Amazon 3-pack for a little different take on Supergirl. So we've had a few different versions here lately over the last couple of years. Have they got the definitive Supergirl yet? I'm not exactly sure. I guess personally, it's probably this one for me, but I think there might be a few out here that like this one, and I don't know if anyone thinks of this first off when they think of Supergirl, but if you do, let me know in the comments below. But not a bad piece of business. Going to be a little bit harder to get, at least for a little while. Todd, I know you're working in the background. I think you got some plans for this one, especially with that missing semi-load. Of course, check out my podcast for more on that every single Tuesday on videocast on YouTube, of course, and then audio platforms wherever that is found. Check out my Patreon. Check out my YouTube channel memberships if you want early access to the videos on top of other stuff and you want to support the channel. Check that out, of course. Don't forget SirPaul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and of course, TheKylePetersonShow at gmail.com. Pro Wrestling Tees, search Kyle Peterson, and of course, my book, The Complete Guide to the ECW Original San Francisco Toy Makers, available right now, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and autographed copies from me if that is your thing. Appreciate the support out there. But for Supergirl Page Puncher Edition, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.
Well, are we gonna dance or are we gonna play?
We're going to